Okay, let's have a look at picket fence down on a sloping block. First of all, I'm going to create the picket, which is a new family, and we shall scroll down through the options, all these different templates that we can use. We've done some wall-based and some floor-based models before. Like a shower base, it has to have a wall there to be connecting to something. The metric site is an interesting one. You can place them in the middle of anywhere, or you can attach it to a surface. So that's what we shall be using. It opens to the reference level. First of all, save it as family, and I'll just pop this onto my desktop. Picket. And we'll go to the front view, and we want to be able to visually see. Before we start modelling anything in place, we need to pop a reference plane in across the top here, and give it a name as being the top of the picket, and I'll pick on the little icon next to that temporary dimension, making it a permanent dimension. I'll then add a parameter onto that dimension by going onto this little button up here, create parameter, calling it height, leaving the dimension as the group parameter under. So from there we can pick on the family types button, and we can start creating some new parameters. First new parameter we'll put in is I'll just call it 900, and we'll alter the height to 900. That's the parameter under dimensions that we just made. Select apply, and just in checking there that reference plane is following that dimension as required. Create a new one called 1000 with a 1000 height. Pick apply. Another one at 1200. Pick apply. Another one at 1500. Pick apply, and one more at 18. And pick apply. Each one of those, just glancing over, making sure that it's working okay for us. And family types, we can select at any time. So the next thing we need to do is now create an extrusion. I'm just going to use a rectangle here, pop it either side of that center line, and we'll alter its width to 65, and again I'll just pick on that dimension just so that it sticks on screen, so that I can drag that up out of the way, and I'm just going to lock that dimension in place. Next thing I'll do is dimension from that outside boundary line to that center line, and the other side place that dimension. I'm going to pick on the little EQ because I just want to keep that central over there. And what else do I need? I'm going to put a dimension line from the bottom reference plane, which will be the site surface, to the bottom of the picket, and I'll set that up at 50 millimeters just to keep the picket up off the ground. Okay, so that's all in place. I shall now draw a line from the top, and I'll come down at about 110. Tidy that up a bit. And I'll just mirror that to the other side using the mirror by picking an axis, and again, a bit of a tidy up between there and there. So So created our shape. All I need to do is to ensure that I've got this attached to that top line, and the model will follow that line all the way through. I'll just lock that 50 at the bottom too. So dimension from our reference plane to the top, 81, and this time I'm going to select those two lines and move them from the top to that reference plane, changing that dimension to 0 so that I can lock it at 0. I'll set a thickness of this picket as being 22 millimeters and pick OK. Pop into a 3D, let's just go thin line so we can see it. So there's the picket ready to go. Load into project, so it's brought it across, and you can see I've got some sloping land here, and I'm just going to place that picket on that corner up the top there. So just altering the view so I'm directly over the top. I can then use the array command. I'll go for 200 pickets, and I'll just show the distance to the second, and 65mm picket, so if I space them at 90 millimeters, that should be sufficient for what we need to do. And you can do this with colour bond fencing and all sorts of different options, posts and things, just depending on what spacings you need. It took a little while for that to generate, so it sort of indicates that it's working okay. And we should have a picket fence that follows the contours, and as you alter those contours, if you need to, that fence will actually follow along as well. So if I just alter that topography, that fence will stay onto that surface, so you can run fences down along boundary lines, all sitting up out of the ground.